years back.
Good.
A lot of names.
Who'd you get? You know?
Oric
Yeah,
is a name,
I got them.
and I don't know the rest of them. Well,
I got a guy from Warwick, Doug Goodfriend. He's worked in the town of Clinton, and Bill Wire at Nixon Peabody.
oh, okay, that's the name I have.
It's 6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Where's Pat at?
Texted me earlier. I thought it seemed like he was coming.
Does he think it's at the fire?
No, he knows. He's
He
saying.
knows it's here?
Yeah.
Yeah, call him just to make sure. I have my cell phone here. So 6 o'clock means we're live?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So let's wait for a minute to see if we can find
Yeah, that's fine.
Pat.
And my Red Book subscription lapsed, so I didn't.
Oh, is that right? You know the red book? Okay.
It's pretty expensive, but I got it
I
myself.
got a call back from that guy, Bob.
He's coming.
He's coming? Okay, fine. Bob Haskins, I think was the name of that.
Oh, he called you back.
Yeah. And so he said, well, I said, what's your price? He says, well, send me a copy of the resolution that we passed last year. So I did. I'll look at it and let you know. So I did that. And I'll go look.
Is there a requirement, Vicky, every time for a bond? You need counsel?
You know, I've never gotten a bond before from the government for any project, so, you know, when you think about it, maybe it makes sense that they just wanna deal with that to make sure you close it properly,
Yeah.
but, I don't really have any experience with it.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, do you recall us
Sort
getting
of
bond
government
counsel
to
for the water?
government, so, no,
So I don't recall us. Yeah, okay.
no.
400. I mean, it's not. It's like not a lot of money, obviously.
400 what?
400K, right? It's not a lot of money.
400K. Where'd you get that?
Because I thought that's what it said in your email.
Oh, no. This is talking about the $7 million wastewater treatment.
Yeah. Well,
For that.
right. Even that.
Well,
So that's a lot more.
We're not getting bond counsel for this.
Oh, okay.
Now,
No.
this is just
No, what happened was
When
we
you
submitted the
get
request for.
government bonds. This is for the application he's making to get a government bond, for the water treatment
For the whole big project.
Yeah.
If we go that way.
Got it.
Well, that was only like 1.4.
Yeah,
So I don't know
water-
if like Mackie if they were able to do it because it wasn't. I don't know. Because Rebecca handled
Was that right?
stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we never had to go out for podcasts.
When we issued the bond counsel?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, so we got the no interest bonds for the water plant. Did we? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, for the water plant, it was, what was it, 60% of the, I'm gonna say $2 million.
Okay.
Right.
So it was up to $1.2 million. And the rest of it we had to fund ourselves, yeah. So it was just a grant. There wasn't any zero interest bond with it, but it was just a grant.
Was it?
And we had to finance the rest of it.
Well, but I think we took out extra because we had $200,000 that came out of the big grant.
That's right, yeah. There you are, Pat.
Hey, Pat.
All right, so this is the April 26th, 2023 meeting of the Village of Blue Brook Board of Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sir, can you do a roll call?
Yes, sir. Mayor Coffey?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Conti?
Here.
Trustee Herzog?
Here.
Trustee Dora?
Here.
And Trustee Murphy?
Okay, good. So it's a relatively short agenda. There's really two topics. One is the administrative business of going over the approval for a bond and a ban to cover the South Middle Pump Station. And the second I asked for executive session public personnel. So let's talk about the South Middle Pump Station. I sent you all a email yesterday trying to describe the sort of tale of how we've gotten where we are. Any questions about that?
Maybe you can just walk me through it.
Sure,
because-
that's probably fair. I'm just gonna go through the email and talk to it.
Okay.
So about a year ago, VRI came to the board and said that the pump station in South Millbrook was at risk of failure. It's, I think it's about 30 to 40 years old. And when it fails, there's no generator, when there's no power there, they have no generator to back up the power. And so they put in an estimated cost. It came and said it was like $207,000. We added 20% and arrived at an estimated cost of $250,000. Based on that, the board passed a resolution to accept an offer from the Bank of Millbrook for a loan for $250,000. Then Delaware and VRI developed a plan to do most of the replace, install in-house to control the costs. And Delaware went out to bid for the pump and the generator, but there was an error in the bid specs such that the date of completion was earlier than the delivery time for the generator. It's like a 40-week lead time for the generator. So that was a problem that required them to redo the bid.
So whose was that? Delaware's?
Delaware, yeah.
We knew it was a long lead time, right?
Everybody did except the person who put the bid on it, I guess. I don't know. It was a guy that we had not dealt with. And so that is what it is.
Okay.
However, in the interim, the deputy mayor and I went to see representatives from both Senator Hinchy's office and Assembly Member Barrett's office and asked for financial help towards the paying for this pump station. And they came back and each offered to do $125,000 member money, which will cover the whole cost of the estimated $250,000. And the plan was that the member money doesn't come until over like a year from now. So we would use the bond to pay for the contractors up front, and when the member arrives, we would repurpose the loan towards another use. That was the plan. All right. The next thing was that Delaware went to a detailed budget for the project, and the cost rose to $313,000. Now I got to tell you that Deputy Mayor and I had a meeting today with VRI in Delaware, and basically they were full of ideas of ways they could cut the cost. And so I'm confident that the cost is not going to come down much closer to $250,000. There was even a question about whether it would be below $250,000, and I said I won't even consider that. I think there's going to be plenty of stuff we have to do there to make it very close to $250,000. So it was a very productive meeting today, and I think based on that, VRI and Delaware are going to work together to put together a work plan.
I don't need all the specifics, but
Yeah.
how are we going from 325? How are we getting back down to 250?
So the ideas they had was instead of the big what's the big green thing that's next to the what's the thing called? It's the old
old pump
yeah
station that's
the pump bed,
out
right.
of use. We have one that's in need of repair and one that's out of use, which I guess was never removed.
So they wanted to initially fill it with concrete. What's the concrete they want to use?
Yeah, concrete or something.
Yeah.
Great.
What was it?
You would know it.
Quickcrete, that's right.
Something like that.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah.
And they said, why can't we just fill it with sand? That like significant reduction in cost. And they talked about all the wiring work that needs to be done by Black Electric and how much of that VRI could do versus Black Electric. All right. So just a lot of ideas that came up. Bob Colacola is going to go and take care of removing a big tree that's in the way of the of access to it. And he's also going to put a road in, put in like, I think it's like 2 foot of item 4, something like that.
Okay.
And Bob's going to take care of all that. All right. What were some of the other ideas they had? Basically, they had
They were
just a
talking
variety of
about
things.
the ladder versus steps of concrete versus maybe metal, something else. So there are apparently different ways that they can start curbing down the cost, which they seem very confident about. I mean, we quite strongly said to them, you have to sharpen your pencils on this in a bigger project.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sometimes they could rent some temporary pumps instead of buying pumps. But I don't know how they're going to do this. Where they're going to put some above surface pumps for the time being to keep the pump going while they were some of the new ones.
Yeah.
Instead of buying new pumps, they can just rent pumps.
Well, they might buy pumps because VRI could
They
use
might,
it
yeah.
afterwards, then they're gonna compare the costs.
Right. So they just had a whole litany of things they thought they could do to reduce the cost. All right. And I said the goal is to get it back to 250 because I don't want to pay more than that.
Right, and to the 250, I also added that if by any chance they come below 250, we can repurpose that money, so we don't have to use that money just for the pump station. So any way that they can go below and not sacrifice either safety or the aesthetics, you know.
Yeah, have to be reimbursed, yeah. We can do it for the member money, we can't do it for the loan. All right? Okay, then when I went to DASNY, this agency that handles the applications to use member money, I was told that I can't use the bank loan to do the upfront funding. It has to be a one-year ban, that's why we're here tonight, okay? The assumption there is that if you got the loan, you already got the money, why are you coming to the state to get member money? All right. So, based on that requirement, Sarah solicited banks and has gotten a bid from Millbrook, was the only one you got back, right?
Correct.
Assisted multiple banks, and that's what we're going to discuss today. That's going to be a ban for $325,000, 1 year ban. Okay. The problem with repurposing the loan, which is what I want to do, is that it's something that's looked on negatively by the IRS, among others. Okay. So therefore, the problem is we went to the bank and said we want a loan to do this, replace the pump station with a generator. And they go back and now and say we want to do it for something else is not allowed. Okay. So two things I learned is one of them, you can't use a bond for upfront funding, and you can't repurpose a loan. All right. So those are things I learned in this process to get us where we are today. So then the plan was to repay the loan, and I had to go to George Whalen and explain to him the story, the whole sort of story. After I went through it, he said, "I feel so sorry for him. I'm going to let you do it." No. So he said he agreed to let us pay back the loan with no fees, no early fees.
Otherwise, there were early repayment fees.
There actually, he said, we've never done this before. When we give out a loan, that's it, and we don't expect to get early payment back. It's a 10-year, what the term is used, a 10-year repayment, and that's the conditions. All right, and so he doesn't recognize the situation where you can pay back early. There's evidently nothing in the loan conditions that allows you to pay early. All right, but he's willing to for this thing. He checked with Alan, his legal rep, to make sure they had no problem with it, and Alan said that's okay with him. So based on that, George is willing to let us repay the loan without any fees. All right. That's how it brings us to here. All right. So, as I said, the meeting with Delaware went very well. I want to path towards getting us back to 250. The two things I learned is you can't do upfront funding with a bond. It's going to be a ban, and you can't repurpose a bond. Any questions about that?
So what's paying back the loan? We just haven't used the money, so we're just giving it back.
We give it back because we have a specific purpose we got the loan for,
Right.
which we're not going to use it for.
Right.
So therefore, we have to pay it back.
Okay.
All right.
And it's just sitting in New York class, so we have not,
Right.
we haven't used any of it.
You know, I wanted to use it for the next thing on the wastewater treatment plant list of things to do, but I can't do that. All right.
So is the 325 ban part of the 400 bond?
Yes. Yes. So we're going to approve a $4,000 bond, all right, and then get a ban for $325 to cover the worst case scenario, what this thing might cost. The expectation is we receive the $325, we won't use it all, and so next year when we pay it back, we'll have the member money, for whatever the actual cost was, and plus we'll have leftover money from the ban that we can fulfill the full 1 year payment. All right. Everyone's okay with that?
Yeah, very good.
Okay, so now let's go to the actual resolutions. Okay, and so the first one is to be the bond, right? Sarah, we should do bond first?
Yeah.
So that's the second attachment you got. All right, so resolution 2023-003-0.02. A resolution authorizing the issuance of $400,000 serial bonds of the Village of Millbrook, Dutchess County, New York, to pay the cost of repairs and improvements to the South Millbrook sewer pump house and accessories. Now, do we need to read through all this?
No, I think you explained.
Any questions about it?
No.
Remember, we did the same thing with the wastewater treatment plant. We had this serial bond for up to $7 million, right? that we approve, which is just sitting there. We haven't taken anything against that. All right, same concept as here. All right.
Right.
I'm gonna ask this question,
Yes.
just to hear you say the answer again, because it keeps escaping me. Why do we need a bond when we're getting the ban?
The bond gives you the authority to issue a ban, to get a ban.
Okay, so it's
So-
not
so-
that
so-
we're getting 700,000?
No.
No.
Got it, okay.
Right. Gotta have a bond first, and then you can go get a ban for up to that amount.
Right, and then if in the event, say, like we need more than the 325, we then can get another ban with the 400,000.
Up to
So
up to
the
40,000.
400,000,
Up to 4,000.
you know, whatever meets the 325 to get to the 400,000, and
So 75,000.
yeah,
Yeah, the expectations will never go to 400,000.
Yeah.
right,
Right, I mean, we're gonna go to 325, we'll go to 325, we're gonna pay back the extra.
Right.
Right, this just to cover ourselves. Alright? Alright, so now I'm gonna put this, order resolution to a vote.
Mayor Coffey,
Aye?
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Cantino, Trustee Doro,
Alright.
and Trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Okay, good. Now let's go to the next page, this is the bond anticipation note. Resolution 2023-03.01. Authorizing the issuance of a $325,000 bond anticipation note to the Village of Millbrook pursuant to the local finance law for the purpose of financing the repairs and improvements to the South Millbrook Sewer Pump House, related accessories in and for the Village of Millbrook. Okay, so it starts off with, whereas we have issued a bond in the amount of 400,000 for this purpose, all right? And now we should adopt a bond anticipation note for 325,000. Then here's the sections identify the details. Is this online, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. So people who are watching from home can go to the website homepage, and on the right is minutes and agendas, I think, the green bar. Click that, and then you go to the meeting docs bar, and from there you can see both these documents listed.
Correct.
All right. I should have said that at the start of the meeting. Sorry. Anything about the wording here regarding the details of the bond anticipation note? No question. Anybody? All right, the question of the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote on roll call, which resulted as follows.
Mayor Coffey,
Here, aye.
Trustee Herzog,
Aye.
Trustee Cantino,
Aye.
Trustee Doro,
Aye.
Trustee Murphy.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. With the passing of this, I'll be able to submit to DASD New York tonight the detailed stuff they've asked for that supports the application. Officially, we haven't heard that it's accepted. All the words we're hearing from them, it will be accepted, but we need to submit this thing and get them to give us a stamp to say it's all good to go from the 250. All right?
Do we have to have the ban money first, or the documentation's good enough?
I'm going to say that the documentation is good enough.
Okay,
I'm going to submit this tonight.
right. Well, I have the stuff I need to get to the bank, but I just don't have it all filled out yet.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. If they say they want the details of things.
I'm sure they don't, because it's really a contract between us and the bank, so I'm
That's right.
assuming they
Yeah.
don't, so.
Do you have anything that shows that you went and solicited multiple banks? And you only got
We
one?
have a letter,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
if they want that.
No, I'm not gonna submit that, just have it on file.
Yep, I have the letter, and I have the responses.
Okay. What is the rate of the ban?
Oh, let me see if I can pull it up.
now that the resolution's passed, you can let Robert know he can accept the bid.
Yeah, I'll do that today as well. Yeah, you saw the responses to the bids for the generator and the pump station. The generator was much lower than estimated. The pump was about 10% higher. The net of the two together was about $10,000 under what he estimated to be. All right.
Can I just give me a second?
Okay.
So those two came to 167 and change, so the rest of that is installation costs or?
Electric. They're shutting down. What's the big green thing called? Pat?
Pump head.
The pump head? Okay,
Yeah.
fine. They're gonna shut that down, they're gonna take that out, fill it up, and then cut it off so it doesn't.
I think he estimated like 60,000 just for the demo.
Is that right?
That was the
Okay.
big number.
Wow.
And then the 10,000, around 10,000 for
Was
installation.
it concrete?
But then there's a fence and
Oh, what's that? This is metal.
Metal?
Yeah.
60,000 to demo that?
Are they demoing or are they just?
they
They're filling up.
separated demolition, installation, then there was talk of the fence, you know, being able to climb in.
Dan from VRI said that removal and install of the pump would be about 10,000. And they got something wrong with the bypass, which I really don't understand. So it keeps pumping while they're replacing it.
There's two pieces, removal of the pump that we're using and then removal of what's been there, I gather, for a long time,
Yeah.
that we're not using.
That's no, not using it. That's the thing, the big green thing. Yeah. So there's piping and there's electric. There's a lot of other stuff. So you're gonna have Black Electric is gonna do a lot of electric work. VRI is gonna do the final work. So we're hoping to minimize all those costs.
But hopefully they'll give us a line by line, what,
They will. Yeah. They will.
3.75.
3.75%. Okay. All right, good. So you'll go accept the bid, make a number, make it official. All right,
Do you wanna just take a motion just to accept Bank of Millbrook's?
oh, sure, I'd like to make a motion to accept Bank of Millbrook's offer for $25,000 ban, 1 year at 3.75%. Make it a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, good. Anything else, Sarah, before I adjourn the regular meeting?
I don't believe anything for this.
Okay, good. So can you stick around in the back room so I can have this
I
personal
can,
discussion?
let me just,
So I'll make a motion that we adjourn the regular meeting. A second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
alright, so you're just, you have to come back to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right.
Okay, so you're gonna go on to executive.
I'll
The
make a
camera
motion.
off, Sarah.
So what?
I wanna make sure the camera's off because
Oh, yeah.
we left it on last meeting during the executive session. It's on.
Oh, is that right?
It's recording. We did, but you can see, you can hear.
Is that right?
You can hear our conversation.
Is that right?
Wow,
All right.
we're pretty far away from where
Yeah.
it was.
The camera's on too, but you can, you know, I mean, you can't, I don't know if you can hear word for word, but you can,
We were
You're
in
just talking,
another room.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were a good 100 yards away.
Wow, that's pretty sensitive.
I have made no promises I could put it back on.
Say what? What?
I make no promises I could put it back on,
That's all right.
but I just record when you guys are.
Yeah, I just
When you
recorded
leave the
time,
meeting.
so